The United States is not a democracy. It's a republic. In a democracy, the majority rules. In a republic, the individual is protected from the majority. As Thomas Jefferson said, a democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49. Now, up until recently, this was something that you heard a lot of folks on the right, a lot of constitutional conservatives, say when they believed that they had no way of winning elections. They thought they were outnumbered. But now that Donald Trump has won, we are starting to see people on the left talk about the U.S. as a republic. And we are headed in this country for a huge moment of hypocrisy that's going to bother a lot of people. And it's going to put them in a conundrum. The old do as I say, not as I do thing. Now, real quick, before we get into today's video, I know this seems like a lot to unpack, but when you see it, it's going to make perfect sense. And it's probably going to cause a few people to stay up at night. Now, it's not my intention to cause anyone discomfort, but over at the Patreon channel, well, it kind of is. We have 4 levels over there, and we take the gloves off. We talk about psychological operations and how the media has so warped our perceptions of things that most folks can't discern whether they are in their thinking brain or whether they are just assessing their emotions and then making decisions based on those feelings. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, this would have been unheard of. But with the advent of the internet and with mainstream media being involved in virtually everybody's life and politics being a day-to-day thing, getting read in on the tactics and techniques is critical information for everyone to know. That's why we have a base level over there of only one single US dollar per month. If you want to sign up, even less. If you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable, first 90 days, no questions asked. The next video we're going to be putting up sometime in the next 48 hours is going to be for the top 3 levels. Need to know Roundtable 5, Unit Commanders 10, and Brigade Commanders 15. A few days ago, maybe about a week now actually, we put up a video for everyone, the 1, 5, 10, and 15. There are hundreds of videos over there at that level, going back all the way to 2018. Love to have you over there. God bless all of you who have signed up. Thank you so much. Very, very much appreciate it. Let's get right into it. And just as a hint, the next video over at Patreon, we're going to talk about the psychology. Again, we've talked about this before, but we're going to go to a part 2 of phase 2 on this, of what would have occurred had this show, The Big Bang Theory, decided to flip the genders of all of the characters. Now, it's just something to think about, and there's something that a lot of people miss, but here's the hypocrisy moment. You ready for this? It is my firm belief that going into the next 2 to 4 years, we are going to see the Donald Trump administration begin to push for vaccine mandates. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are like, well, wait a minute. We let this go a long time ago. This is ancient history. This is never going to happen. He said that everybody had a right to be free. Well, he was very, very proud of the vaccine and rolling it out very quickly. But how many of you knew that for someone to come here legally to immigrate into this country, that they have to be fully mRNA vaccinated? That's right. Puts you in kind of a conundrum. People say, Florida Monkey, we don't have a problem with immigration. We really don't have a problem with Hispanic people. As long as they come here legally and do it the right way. Well, for them to be here the right way, they're putting a requirement on those people that isn't a requirement on people who are born here. Now, how is that fair? How is that right? Wouldn't these people say, hey, wait a minute, don't you have something in your Constitution called equal protection? Isn't there a clause in your Constitution that say if you require something of one citizen, shouldn't you require it of all citizens? and you can look this up, is the COVID vaccine required for U.S. citizenship? Lawful permanent residence is a necessary first step. Before applying for U.S. citizenship, if you do not complete the COVID-19 vaccination and do not meet the criteria and obtain a waiver, you will be inadmissible. CDC recommends the 2024-2025 COVID-19 vaccine for everyone 6 months and older. Everyone. 6 months and older. And Donald Trump, once again, was very, very proud of the modern medical miracle in Operation Warp Speed. 3 vaccines, including mRNA vaccines, delivered in less than a year, and an unparalleled vaccine distribution network. We're not going to let Joe Biden take a credit for a single mRNA jab Trump accomplishment. And this was his quote, just to put the fine point on this. I hope everyone remembers when they're getting the COVID-19 vaccine that if I wasn't president, Donald Trump speaking, you wouldn't be getting that beautiful shot for 5 years at best, and probably wouldn't be getting it at all, former President Donald Trump. I mean, why else would he have given Anthony Fauci a medal? Let's make America vaccinated again. Now, here's where things get a little bit weird. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and their new Department of Government Efficiency. They're going to find a way to save money, to streamline, to get rid of all of the waste and all of the confusion. Well, wouldn't it be simple just to have everybody be required instead of, well, is this person an immigrant? And if they're immigrating and they're required to be vaccinated, then we have to pay for that. But these other people over here, because they were born here, they're not required to have a vaccine. But if you work in this field, then you're required to have it, but you don't have to. You can choose, and then they're going to get rid of all that. They're just going to make everybody vaccinated. They're just saying, you know what? We're just going to get rid of this some people are vaccinated and some people are not nonsense, because it would waste too much money. The litigation, the suing would cost us too much money. We are just going to make it, everybody gets vaccinated. Donald Trump's in charge now, and Donald Trump was the one who got the vaccine out, and we all trust Donald Trump because Donald Trump is 100% trustworthy, and so are all vaccines, and because they're in charge of the government now, they would never do anything to cause harm. So it's time for you to line up and get your vaccination, and let's begin deprogramming the cult of Christianity. Because that's really the crux of this. In fact, you know what would be even a better idea? I mean, who better to deprogram the cult of Christianity than a guy, full-grown man, who dressed up for a Halloween party and went out with his mother, dressed as Baphomet, the giant satanic skull on the front and an upside-down cross in the back. I mean, why wouldn't we trust this guy to streamline government, get everybody vaccinated, save everybody money? I have a fantastic, super fantastic idea, unless there's more bravery to stand up for what is fair and right. And what is more fair and right than asking everybody who wants to be a U.S. citizen to be vaccinated? Either nobody is required or everybody is required. That is fair and right. Christianity will perish without fairness and rightness. I mean, can you argue with Franklin Graham? But it gets even better, because freedom of speech is the bedrock of democracy, right? It's the bedrock. If the U.S. taxed churches, how much money would that be? Google says that all the religious organizations in the U.S. take in around 1.2 trillion per year. Start taxing them at 25%, and we're bringing in $300 billion a year in tax revenue. I mean, doesn't that make sense? Wouldn't it just make sense to deprogram the cult of Christianity, stop this unfair tax break being given to this huge religion industry? Because Elon Musk is going to prove with brain chips that it's just a mental state. It's just an emotional state. He's going to implant chips, and he's going to find the parts of the brain that light up during faith-based, activities, and then just deprogram that. $300 billion a year. Boy, that would save a bunch of money. The U.S. religion industry is worth an estimated $1.2 trillion. Ties at local churches, donation to faith-based charities, shopping at markets with religious roots, religious institutions, universities, charities, all this stuff, healthcare facilities, schools, daycare. Tax it all. Tax it all in the name of fairness. Well, I mean, any law. Well, 501c3, monkey. 501c3, it's an unfair law. It's unfair. It gives Christians a big advantage. Because then they can take their money and they can put it into the church, and the church can pretty much do everything, sell t-shirts and have vacations on that. And I mean, we've seen all of the, nonsense going on with Paula, what's her name, and Paula White, and how rich these people get and all that tax-free stuff. It would be much more efficient. Shouldn't Doge get involved? Shouldn't Doge get involved and stop that? It's inefficient to say this one group of people over here gets this special treatment simply because they just so happen to be Christians. So, I mean, wouldn't that help pay off our debt? Let's get everybody vaccinated, everybody on the same, because that's fair. It's unfair. It is absolutely patently unfair to require immigrants to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated, but not require actual American citizens to be vaccinated. So in the name of fairness, let's get rid of the deep state. Let's get rid of these private laws. And one group of people can do one thing, and another group of people, they have a whole nother set of rules. One set of rules for everybody. Because, as we know, because Donald Trump is in charge now, and the Republicans have the House and the Senate and the courts, we're no longer living in a republic, are we? We're no longer living in a republic. We're living in a democracy. I mean, right, Trump supporter? Isn't that right now? I mean, what you've been laughing about for the last month. 3 weeks. What you've been laughing about? Donald Trump getting his so-called mandate. His landslide victory of 1.5% in the popular vote. Okay, fine, wonderful. We're not a republic anymore. We're a democracy. You have your 51% of the people. Both houses of Congress and the courts. Let's make everything fair. Make America fair again. Make America fair again. Doesn't that sound right? Sorry about all the flashing. I was going to try to show that again. Isn't it time to make America vaccinated? Just in the name of fairness? Because if we require it of immigrants, you said we don't have a problem with immigration. We don't have a problem with immigration as long as it's done the right way. As long as they go to the deep state, Washington, D.C. first and get permission to live here. And get Washington, D.C.'s permission to live here on the tax farm. Then you're okay with it. Well, whatever is required of them under equal protection should be required of you. And don't think for 1 minute that Donald Trump would be against this. Because now there's a different take on it. So, like to know what you think. I really, really would. Join us over at Patreon. Over there, you can actually inbox me over there. And we can actually have a conversation if you have anything you want to talk about or any questions about any of the videos. Unlike here, there used to be, long time ago, at YouTube, there used to be a direct message inbox function, but that's long been deprecated. But there still is over Patreon. So, that alone. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Really want to know what you think on this. Show up down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.